So I was raised a Christian missionary kid in Papua New Guinea, and my parents taught me to love and serve and give and help. The problem was when we came back from overseas, I realized that we were poor, and I didn't like being poor. I said, being poor sucks. So I decided I wanted to be rich. So I got into commercial real estate because a friend of mine said I could be rich. But as I got in, I realized pretty quickly this is a cutthroat, ruthless industry. But again, I believed my parents had it wrong because they taught me to love and serve and they were poor. So I associated service with being broke. And then I saw these other people being successful, being cutthroat. So I became cutthroat, but I was unhappy. I was miserable and I was misaligned with my core values. And then 25 years ago, I went to a conference and a speaker gets up and he starts talking about a different way of doing business, a way of succeeding by helping others succeed. And I was moved and inspired. And long story short, reinvented myself. It was a long, hard journey, fell in love, full circle with how my parents had raised me, with loving people. And today we've built a very, very special firm through this idea of success through service. It really is a unique thing to be in commercial real estate and in commercial real estate brokerage and to spend my time talking about loving and serving people. It doesn't really go hand in hand for most people, but that's what we aim to change. For me, it's this idea of we all know how to love, we all know how to serve. We do it in our families, we do it in our communities, but then we get into business and we have this idea that somehow we gotta go fight, and we gotta win. And the reality is that I believe that the more that you help other people succeed, the more you help others win, the more it comes back to you. So for me, the transformation was going back to my roots, going back to how I was raised, remembering how my parents taught me to love, and doing that in the business community. And instead of trying to sell, instead of trying to get, instead of trying to scrap and fight for everything for me, it was, how can I help you? How can I be of service to you? Figuring out how I could pour myself into another individual and love on them became the magic for the creation of the firm. For me, Kaiser is a community organization. We have built the firm on this idea of seeing how many people we can help in the community. So for us, without the community, there is no Kaiser. And what motivates me is, as when we started, people thought I was crazy. They thought this idea of succeeding by helping others succeed in a very cutthroat industry, they didn't think that we would succeed. And so with our success, it's been really rewarding and it inspires me further. My mission in life, my mission in business and my mission across everything that I do is to prove definitively that the more you give, the more you help, the more you serve, the more it comes back. So I think we all sort of know that fundamentally, but I'm trying to prove that there's a connection between service and success. And by making that connection, in arguably one of the most cutthroat industries in the world, that inspires me. So every day I wake up excited to do more and more of that and continue to push that forward. And my vision is that in the future, this will be second nature for everyone. In the future, business won't be cutthroat because everybody will get this fundamental philosophy that I'm articulating. They'll get that the more you want to get, the more you have to give. And so for me, when I die, I want to be known as the guy that just tried to outlove everyone. Sacrifice is an essential part of any success. And so the way that I look at how we've built Kaiser is we play the long game. We're less concerned about success today, and we're more concerned about success in the future. So everything that we do comes from this perspective of how do we push more across the table to those on the other side, knowing that at some point, the universe cannot handle an imbalance and it will come back to us one way or the other. So when you think about sacrifice, I think that to me, sacrifice is in being willing to not do things just for instant gratification. It means being willing to take the longer, more durable path to success, not just the instant gratification, quick win kind of philosophy. I think the main reason that most people don't fundamentally adhere to the philosophy that I do is because in their minds it takes too long. And so for me, I would much rather build a broad base of community support and have loved on as many people as I possibly can, knowing that into the future that creates extraordinary success for the firm. My philosophy is that the leader is the bottom of the pyramid. So it's an inverted pyramid. And it's the responsibility of the leader to support the entire organization. Before I started my own firm, I had the opposite idea. I thought that being the leader meant you're the boss and you get to make all the decisions and you call all the shots. And what I realized is that truly the best leadership model is the Simon Sinek model, the leaders eat last. It's this philosophy of we're here as the fundamental support for everyone in the organization, and it's my job to help them be successful, and if they're successful, then it makes the whole organization successful. From my perspective, me as a leader means that I have ultimate responsibility for everything that happens within the organization, for making sure that the people are fulfilled, making sure that they are living their best selves within the organization, and I provide them with the tools to do so. And I think the more that you love on your people and the more that you love on your organization, the more then they're able to love on the community. And if you love on the community, then it comes back and it helps you be successful. So again, sometimes it feels a little bit like it's a lot to carry when you're at the bottom of the pyramid, sort of trying to keep things happening, but I think that's the ultimate sacred responsibility of a good leader, and that's what I want to aspire to become. Probably my biggest inspiration has been my mother. So Emily Kaiser is the epitome of someone who loves and serves everyone. When I'm sitting there trying to figure out what to do, I'll think, what would my mom do? Like how would she treat this person in this situation? And so from an inspiration standpoint, I would never have had the fundamental wiring of loving people. I'm a driven, motivated, type A personality. If I didn't have a mom that just loved on me and taught me values and service, I wouldn't be where I am today. But honestly, today, what inspires me the most is my wife and my kids. Like, I don't know how people live lives. I'm sure that they do it in a way that's meaningful to them. But for me, my biggest inspiration is my family. And I love being a dad. I have 6 kids, and if my wife gets her way, we may have one more. And I just think that there's no greater honor and responsibility than being a dad, and being a family guy is my inspiration. And so I love what I do, both in the home and outside the home. And the best part about being a guy that is out in the community talking about service and love is you're really tested in your own home. And my family would be the first ones to tell you all my shortcomings, but they're my greatest joy, they're my greatest pleasure, they're my greatest accomplishments, and I really enjoy and think I have the greatest family that ever lived. So when you think about from a blessing standpoint, from an inspiration standpoint, my family is it for me. When you think about service at scale, it comes back to culture. So we've created a culture within Kaiser that really fosters and embraces service. So we try to be of service to each other, and then that enables us to be of service to the community. What I see a lot of leaders do is they have a vision, but then they don't create the organizational culture that enables the fostering of the improvement upon and the scaling of that vision. And so for us at Kaiser, we're not perfect, we make mistakes like everyone else, but it is filled with people who genuinely love to help others. So when you think about selfless service on scale, we attract the kind of people that want to love on people, that want to help them, that want to go above and beyond. And people that aren't wired that way, they're not a good fit within our firm. And so it's been this cool experience of seeing the vision attracting the kind of people who are already naturally wired that way, who want to be a part of a culture like that, who actually get enjoyment and fulfillment out of loving and serving people. So continuing to track those folks is the way that you scale, and making sure that you have mechanisms in place for accountability, which we do as well. So that's been a big learning that we've done over the past few years, is helping to make sure that you have the embedded infrastructure in place to ensure that you're delivering upon the value proposition that we claim to deliver upon. And that, for me, is the endless journey, right? It's constantly, iteratively trying to improve that, trying to make it better. How do we outperform how we did last year? How do we outperform how we treated the last client? So I think if you have this constant self-improvement mindset, I think it can be very useful as well. As a father of 6 and a husband, I think that that's probably the easiest way to stay grounded, because your family is, they don't care how successful you are. They just care that you are a good father and a good husband. And so that kind of keeps you grounded. But I think as a leader, we have a culture within Kaiser where what we constantly do is look for ways that we as leaders, me being foremost amongst them, can improve. So I love to ask at the end of every meeting, I like to say, okay, last question, you all know what's coming. Where do we suck? How can I improve? Where am I failing you? And so it's this constant iterative approach of self-improvement and being vulnerable and accountable to the team. So one of my favorite things to do in team meetings is to talk about where I fail, where I fall short, where I screwed up. I've never seen anything unlock brilliance within a culture as much as vulnerability as a leader. Rather than pretending like you have it all figured out, which I certainly don't, it's showing the journey and showing that you're human, just like everybody else, and being the kind of person that's not going to blame somebody else for your shortfalls and get away with it because you're a leader. It's like, that's not a good leader. That's a tyrant. I don't want to be a tyrant. I want to be someone who loves people. And so if you do that with your team, then your team does that as well, naturally, because they don't feel afraid to make a mistake. So we have one of our philosophies at Kaiser is we don't punish mistakes, but we acknowledge them so that we can improve and move forward. And no one is more important to do that than me. And I also understand too that success is fleeting. And so if I don't stay humble and realize what it took to get here, I'm gonna lose my edge, and that's not something I'm willing to do. So keeping it real, realizing I'm just another human on this planet, putting one foot in front of the other, trying to make it happen every day, and try to love as many people as possible, and it all kind of sorts out. I just want to be known as a guy that loved people. To me, at the end of the day, the most important thing from every philosophy, from every religion, is love. I think love is the word, and it's weird for a commercial real estate guy to be talking about love, but that's what we're all about, right? It's all about loving and serving. And so when I'm old, I want my kids to say, yeah, my dad loved everyone. One of my favorite quotes is, I'm sure there's somebody out there that I don't like, but I haven't met him yet. I think leadership is a responsibility. I think it is a solemn and sacred responsibility. You're responsible for other people's livelihoods. You're responsible for other people's happiness within an office. And so I think a lot of people want to lead because they want to be in charge. And I think the reality is that leadership is really more about loving and serving people. And the more you do that, the more that you'll be a real leader and the more that you'll be respected. Back in the day when I was a shark, I thought that leadership was being bossy and nobody wanted to follow me. And then as I fell in love with service and fell in love with helping people, then people started saying nice things about me. They started wanting to be a part of what I was building. And so, to a new leader, it's don't get sucked in and fascinated by what appears to be the shiny object of power. The reality is that power comes with incredible responsibility, and the main responsibility that you have as a leader is to love and serve people. I think the biggest thing that people can do as far as taking a first step forward is just to figure out simple things they can do to help other people. It's really not that complicated. So if you're going to do one thing, the next interaction you have with someone, rather than trying to figure out how you can get something from them, whether it's in a sales environment, whether it's in your home, regardless, instead think, how can I help this person? Think about ways that you could truly be of service to the person in front of you. And so when I challenge audiences, when I speak around this kind of thing, I'll say you can do the toe in the water version, you can do the middle of the road, or you can do the all-in version. The toe in the water is one act of service once a day for the next 30 days. Selfless service where you don't get anything out of it. Middle of the road is find 3 people a day that you could be of service to and do that for 30 days. All in, which is where I try to live, is everybody you come in contact with, try to figure out how to love and serve those people. It may be a muscle that you need to work on and improve upon, and maybe you start at the initial and then move to the all-in, but you will be amazed. This stuff works. I'm not talking about it because I want to sound cool. I'm talking about it because I believe that selflessness is the most self-interested way to live. Let me say that differently. I believe that selflessness is selfish. Selflessness is self-interested. The more you are selfless and love people, the more it comes back. So if you really want all the things that you ever wanted in life, give those away to everybody that you can, and it'll come pouring back on you. Constant self-improvement is what I'm addicted to. So constantly looking for ways to improve. What does that mean? That means reading. That means asking people, where am I failing? You know, sometimes the greatest things you could do is ask those people around you, where do I suck? You may not like the answers, but inside those answers are where there's opportunities. Hire a coach. Even if you don't have the funds to hire the world's most successful coach, hire someone to help you see your own flaws. What I'm addicted to is figuring out little areas where I suck. Because when you see it, most people, they're just blind to it. And they go through their whole lives having no idea what's limiting them. For me, it's not like I enjoy it. It's not like it's fun. But when I identify an area where I see, wow, that's ugly. I don't like that. Now that I can see it, now I can do something about it. So if you're surrounding yourself with people who are afraid, if you lash out at people who tell you the truth, you're putting yourself in an artificial little bubble that keeps you from getting the feedback that you really need to become the person you need to become. For me, my success has involved embracing the ugly truths about myself, doing something about them, refining those edges. And then the best part about that is I don't suck as much the next day. So I suck less and less and less over time. And as a result, people appreciate me more because I'm not doing those things that would naturally be offensive or problematic or whatever. So the more that you're willing to embrace the truth about yourself, as uncomfortable as it may be, seek out areas where you could improve and you could find ways to learn and to identify what others are doing. There's so much truth out there. And then be willing to stand in the uncomfortable silence of self-realization of where you're flawed, and then be willing to take steps forward on that. To me, that's the magic. And I think that's what life's all about, right? Life's all about getting better. And the better that I get, the like me today versus me 20 years ago, two completely different people. Because I've spent that time improving myself. And the me of 20 years from now will be a much improved version of the me that is here today.